In a quiet rural township, as October chilled into autumn, two young women prepared for the social event of the season, Halloween.
It's going to be great. There'll be so many people.
Becky Brinson and her friend Chelsea Bruck just love dressing up for Halloween.
We're both going to be Batman villains.
Chelsea would be the essence of evil, Batman's nemesis, Poison Ivy. And this wasn't going to be just any Halloween party.
Everyone knew Big Mike has the biggest Halloween party.
They tingled with excitement and blended into the wild bacchanalian scene inside. The revelers poured in. 600, 700 people. Who knew? Did they imagine, even for a moment, that later, much later, true evil would find them here on this sleepy country road? If only they imagined.
You can see a purple ribbon on this pole here, another one on this fence. Purple ribbons pretty much everywhere here in Maybe, where Chelsea Bruck grew up, where she lived. People here say they cannot believe she's gone.
I pass their house every day coming to work, and I miss that Chelsea Bruck, and I thought about her every day.
In a quiet rural township in southeastern Michigan, as October chilled into autumn, two young women prepared for the social event of the season.
It's going to be great. There'll be so many people.
Or so they imagined, so they hoped. In their sunny naivete, they and so many others of a particular demographic on the farms and in the small towns around Monroe County.
It was like a build-up that whole summer that couldn't wait to go to this Halloween party.
Halloween. Becky Brinson and her friend Chelsea Bruck just loved dressing up for Halloween. Chelsea and Becky worked together at a restaurant called Olga's Kitchen in Monroe, and as they served their customers, they talked endlessly about what was coming. This wasn't going to be just any Halloween party. It was Big Mike's annual Halloween bash of 2014.
Everyone knew Big Mike has the biggest Halloween party.
And after all, their friends were going, and there'd be bands and noise and excitement, and who knew what all there'd be?
We're definitely going to be there.
Big Mike had made quite a name for himself with his heavy metal music and his epic parties here at his mother's farm. The girls had been to some of those parties before, and nothing bad ever happened, so really, why should they worry as they dreamt up their costumes, their clever impersonations of evil?
We're both going to be Batman villains.
Chelsea would be the essence of evil, Batman's nemesis, Poison Ivy.
She looked beautiful in her costume.
Yeah, I bet.
I'll never forget.
Chelsea made it herself, spent weeks bent over a needle and thread, and by hand sewed on each leaf of artificial ivy.
I didn't even know she could do that.
And she found a wig, just the right thing, maroon, with tips of red, like blood, like the wine jug she carried, like the bright red of her poisoned lips. She must have been very proud of it.
She was.
Did they imagine, even for a moment, as they prepared, that true evil would find them here on this sleepy country road? Not just the pretend kind. No. The day after Big Mike's Halloween Party 2014 was a Sunday, Recovery Day.
I remember just telling my dad how much fun it was and how happy I was to get out of the house and, just all good things.
Penny Watkins and Becky Brinson failed to understand just yet it was going to be second-guessing day, too. Becky, through the haze in her morning-after head, called Chelsea's mom, left a message that she had Chelsea's cell phone.
And whenever Chelsea woke up that day, she could come get it because I'd be home all day.
Did you hear anything back?
I didn't hear anything until late that night.
When Chelsea's sister sent Becky a message on Facebook saying Chelsea hadn't come home, so Becky responded.
She's probably at a friend's house. She's probably, maybe still sleeping. Who knows? Maybe got up 8, went back to bed. Who knows?
Who indeed? By Monday, when Chelsea had still not turned up at home, or called, or sent word, her worried family contacted whoever they could think of. Friends, the police, Big Mike.
I was sitting at breakfast.
This is Big Mike, the party guy. His real name is Mike Williams, and this is his mother's farm, where he's lived pretty much all his life.
I got a couple of Facebook messages. You see Chelsea, you know where Chelsea's at? And I'm like, I didn't even know who they were talking about at first.
It was Chelsea's sister who messaged Big Mike. The family was worried, very worried now.
People were like messaging me, Mike, go look through your field, go look, take a walk, I'm like, all right.
But look for what? A body? Surely not. Anyway, look he did.
I took my dog with me. We went walking. I went hiking through the field, probably hiked a couple miles, and then my dog stumbled on a fox trap.
So Mike took his injured and bleeding dog back to his house, and there encountered Chelsea's mom, who he said gave him a chilly reception. He excused himself, took his dog to the vet. And
then I came back here. There were probably about 15 people here. They're all searching through the field. And that's when it started getting more alarming.
Penny used Facebook to get the word out about Chelsea and kept looking.
I was out there almost every day. Some nights I'd put the kids to bed and go out searching all night.
Out on Big Mike's property, the family invited the media, including our Detroit affiliate WDIV, to their command post. And Chelsea's mother tried to stay focused through her fear and regret.
Had I known she was going to a party with over 600 people, 22 or not, she would not have been going.
This was agony for a mother and for a sister.
If she was able to come home, she would have by now.
From Mike's farm, the family sent volunteer search parties around the neighborhood and beyond.
And they were still conducting searches throughout the fields. They were knocking on farmers' doors, asking if they could look around their fields and things like that.
Detectives from the sheriff's office were very active too by then. But they'd already encountered a serious problem. How to investigate 600 or 800 people, many in Halloween disguise. Christmas 2014 came and went. No sign of Chelsea. And then, a week into the new year, a break. Maybe the break they'd been waiting for. A terrified woman in Toledo reported that her ex-boyfriend confessed to her that he killed Chelsea.
Okay, Carrie, I'm Detective Premore. This is Detective Smith.
We brought her in right away, and another detective and I sat down with her and interviewed her.
Her name was Carrie Carr.
When I went to go leave, I walked out and I was trying to get in my car. He pulled out a knife. Okay, a pocket knife.
Okay.
And then he goes, this is the one I used on Chelsea.
She provided information that this ex-boyfriend of hers told her that, he was at the party and that he left with Chelsea and that he ultimately ended up killing Chelsea and dumping her body in the Toledo area in a cemetery.
And Carrie said he threatened to kill her, too.
He, grabbed me by my shirt, and he had a knife, and he goes, this is what I used with Chelsea Bruck. He didn't say her name exactly.
What did he say?
He said, this is what I used on Chelsea.
Okay.
Don't make me use it on you.
You could tell that she was nervous, real on edge.
Carrie said she lived in fear of her ex-boyfriend, and she wanted him arrested right away.
I want him locked up, but I can't have him, questioned and then released. He lives on the same street as me.
Right.
He's going to come after me and my kid.
If Carrie was telling the truth, this was very big. Did you actually confront this guy?
We did. We interviewed him, and we brought up the same information that was provided to us without even mentioning her name. He says, this girlfriend of mine, Carrie Carr, we've had problems for a long time, and I believe that she's doing this to get back at me because she don't like me. She wants to see me in trouble.
The detectives brought Carrie in for another chat.
After a lengthy discussion, she ultimately said yes. What her ex-boyfriend told us, that she was trying to get back at him and try to get him in trouble, almost like I got you kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. frustrating work that you do.
Yeah, this took days. You know, it took us away from what we're thinking we're investigating, trying to locate Chelsea and find out what happened to her with this information that someone comes in and brings to us.
So they arrested Carrie for lying to the police, and they went back to square one while Chelsea's family waited for something, anything good.
Still very hopeful that she is somewhere alive and well.
The deep, dense forests of rural Michigan, where dark secrets can find a suitable burying ground. Where in the case of young Chelsea Bruck, pristine Midwestern landscapes serve as a morbid backdrop.
It feels like being in a dream. It just doesn't seem real.
Chelsea Bruck's story begins at a raucous Halloween bash on this sprawling Monroe County farm.
A lot of alcohol and drugs used at that scene.
Chelsea, say friends, was more the quiet, timid type, not open to strangers, didn't even drive. The 22-year-old blonde with an infectious smile lived at home with her parents. Still, Chelsea was eager to go to the party. She hopped a ride with a friend and showed up at the huge affair donning her own homemade costume, depicting the villainous character Poison Ivy. Friend Becky Aguilar-Brinson tells our affiliate partner WXYZ Chelsea was there, and then she wasn't.
I told her, I said, stay right here, I'll be right back.
This picture, taken at 1:30 in the morning, according to another friend, shows Chelsea still wearing the costume and still at the party. But Chelsea would never make it home. Law enforcement in southeast Michigan launched an investigation and a call to action.
It's never too late. We just want our daughter back.
Someone at the party reported they saw Chelsea walking toward the parking area at 3 a.m. with a man wearing dark glasses and a black hooded sweatshirt. This composite sketch is immediately drawn up and released. And then cops get what they think is a break in the case. A woman named Carrie Ann Carr tells police her ex-boyfriend murdered Chelsea Bruck. It turned out to be a lie, as was this story from a man named Harlan Bird who claimed he saw two men driving off with Chelsea, both false leads.
It's really very sad. My daughter was taken. If they want the attention, bring my daughter back and you can have all the attention you want.
Months passed without a suspect, without justice for Chelsea. A 23rd birthday had come and gone, her sister's wedding now part of the family album.
It would have been the perfect wedding if all my children had been there.
As the mystery marked a 6-month milestone, there is a real break in the case, and it's a tragic one. First, a piece of Chelsea's Poison Ivy costume is found on an abandoned lot. 3 weeks later, construction workers excavating a secluded property find Chelsea's remains.
Chelsea's decomposed body was located in a wooded area on Briar Hill Road in Ash Township.
According to reports, Chelsea's body was nude and partially decomposed, covered in logs and limbs.
This is a puzzle, and we're at 3/4 of the puzzle.
A frustrating 14 long months would pass. Then this man, 27-year-old Daniel Clay, a man with an extensive criminal record, falls into the hands of police on felony theft charges. He's questioned by investigators and reportedly tells police he was at that party the night Chelsea disappeared.
During the interview, detectives obtained details that only the killer would have known.
Police say they found what they so sorely needed, the missing piece of the puzzle, and it's got Daniel Clay's face on it. And just to make sure that piece fits snugly, a DNA sample taken from Clay matches samples taken from crime scene evidence.
I'm sorry.
Clay was charged with second-degree murder. The accused killer allegedly confessed to the crime, reportedly telling his girlfriend, Kelly Richter, that it was all a terrible accident that happened during rough sex with Chelsea Bruck.
I swear on anybody's life that I had no idea about what he was capable of or anything that he did.
Clay has undergone a mental competency test and has been ordered to stand trial for the murder of Chelsea Bruck. Since his arrest in the Bruck case, he faces additional charges of criminal sexual contact and home invasion in a separate case involving another Michigan woman. Cops